Hello, I'm Way Lemonade, or you can call me Allie. Today I'm going to be doing a first impression of Little Windows Brilliant Resin. I've seen how pieces come out of this, but I myself personally have never worked with it, so I'm really excited to do that. I'm going to go ahead and take out all the items and go through them one by one. These two containers were on the very top, these blue ones over here. These are mixing and measuring cups, and along the side they have the measurement so you can measure exact amount of resin that you need. As this resin is a 1:2 ratio, so you want to make sure you know what ratio your resin is mixing to. So these are mixing and measuring, so they're not that flexible, and these are for bigger resin pieces, not necessarily bigger resin batches. And these ones over here are also mixing and measuring little containers, but these are super flexible and they're so wonderful to use to pour. And they also have the measurements along the side, and these are really great. I enjoy these products a lot. These are stirring rods. They are very nicely shaped so you can get all the resin and mix it up really well. They're also shiny, and if resin dries on this, you can easily just let it dry, then pop it off once it is completely dried, and then you can use it again. So all these things are reusable, as well as these containers as well. Those are reusable. You just let it dry, then pop it out, or clean it out with rubbing alcohol. Here we have part A of the Little Windows Brilliant Resin. It's a very attractive packaging it's got on here, so it tells you part A and then what to do and how to make it. The website is down below. And on the side here it gives you tips of how to keep your resin bottles very clean and what to do. And this tells you that you should keep it away from children and do not ingest and avoid skin contact. So that's why you use gloves whenever you use resin. So this is part A. This is the hardener, so this is part B. And it tells you here to see part A, as this is a 2:1 ratio mixing. This is a smaller bottle. This is the 1 ratio. You're going to do 2 parts resin and 1 part hardener. And it tells you, also gives you tips and tells you how to clean up, and it also gives you another warning over here. So this one tells you about the fumes. So it's double bagged and it came really nicely packed. Now I'm going to put on my mask. This one's not my regular mask that I normally use because I couldn't bring it. I'm at my friend's place and it was just not going to fit in my suitcase, so I brought these instead. They go behind your ears, so these will still work as a mask. And I also have gloves to protect my hands. You are also going to want some paper towels just to clean up. I'll also be trying out for the first time the medium shape mold set. I have the small version, but my friend whose place I'm staying at, she talks about the medium mold set a lot, so I just decided to go ahead and get it. So I'll be trying out the medium mold shape as well as the Little Windows resin. So this is what it looks like. This is your dust cover protector at the top, and it shows you the shapes along here, and it comes with a cropping template so you can trace out your shapes and then cut them out. And here are the resin molds themselves. So you get 4 of them. You get 3 wells, whereas the small version you get 6 wells per tray. So this is the rectangular one. Got the oval one, the rectangular one, as well as the circle one. The circle ones look really gorgeous, so I'm excited to use those. Gives you a warning. Using flame or high heat tool may cause your resin to bond to the mold, so do be careful when using Little Windows resin, because some resin allow you to use a high heat tool to pop resin bubbles, but using a straw and blowing out carbon dioxide is probably the better method, using Little Windows at least. I'm going to go ahead and use the cropping template on this decorative piece of origami paper. I've already Mod Podged it, that's what the shine is. I'm going to turn it around, place this cropping template along it. I've also got plastic sheeting on the bottom so the floor is protected. So I'm going to take the circle tool, I've got a pencil, and I'm going to lightly trace around the outside, There's Mod Podge on it, so it's making my pencil very difficult to trace, but I can see it roughly. So I'll cut the shape out, and then we'll get to mixing up the resin. Alright, I apologize in advance if my voice is muffled. I'm wearing my mask. So I'm going to mix a 2:1 ratio, starting off with part A. I will measure up to 10 milliliters, I think it is. I'll measure up to the 10 line along this container here, and that's right there. There's a 10. You can always use a Sharpie to mark it off. So there's the 10 line. I'm going to straighten it out. Take my part A and measure that out. 10. And now I'm going to take my paper towel and wipe the neck of the bottle to keep the goopies from escaping. The resin lid also has this cool little spout. That's awesome. I've never seen that before. Then I'm going to take part B and mix it up to 15 in total. So I'm going to add 5. That's why I'm measuring up to 15. There we go. That. I'm going to do the same. Take a paper towel and wipe the neck of the bottle. And then make sure to put the cap back on. Now I'm going to mix this for 2 minutes. And take my stirring rod and I'm going to start mixing it. And you can see the wispies, and it's quite cloudy. But you just want to slowly mix it until everything's combined for 2 minutes. Make sure to scrape along the sides as well as the bottom to get all that resin. This tool is really wonderfully shaped to do just that. And slowly you'll start to see your resin become very clear and there's less streaks throughout it. And that's when you know it's combining. I have about a minute more to go, so I'm going to continue mixing. The resin is completely clear now. Everything has been combined. I'm going to scrape off my mixing spoon and then wipe it down with a paper towel, but I'm just going to let this rest for 5 minutes while I do those other things. Meanwhile, I'm going to cover it with this dust cover lid. This is actually the lid of my friend's medium resin mold set. It's very well used, so there we go. It's been 5 minutes, so the resin has now fully set up so I can pour it. I've got more pieces of origami paper cut out, and this is the one that I just cut, but here are the others that I shall be putting into resin. So what you want to do is take this and pour some in, pour a small amount in each of the wells. Might not have enough to fill the last one, but that's okay. I'll mix up another batch. It's better to make small batches and make more rather than make a really big batch and you can't use up all your resin. I'm going to scrape out the container and get every last drop out. So I didn't have enough resin for the oval mold, so I just took it out of the shot. I'm going to now slip in my papers, so I'm going to slowly push them down to the bottom and let it float down itself. Do the same for all of them. I've pushed them all in from the side, and now I'm just going to go in with the mixing tool and just press them down so they get coated in resin. My friend likes to do this method with her resin pieces. I like using stickers, but both are very, very beautiful. And to each is their own, right? So, just doing this. It's a very cool technique. The pieces come out looking very beautiful. Now I'm just going to let them all set up and probably mix another batch of resin and pour some more, but that can be done off camera. I just wanted to show you these first few ones. Just make sure I'm pressing it all down and everything gets coated in resin. Be extra sure. Here are the completed Little Windows resin pieces using the medium mold set. They turned out really fantastic, and I'm so excited to use Little Windows resin again. I'll put a link down below to where you can buy what I've used, and thank you so much for watching, and until next time.